Anthony Kim is the name golf never stopped bringing up. He became a star fast, then he disappeared, and for years nobody really knew if we'd ever see him again. And now, he's back in the conversation, not as a rumor this time, but as a real player again. So, let's get into it. Here's Anthony Kim through what the people around him have actually said. If you weren't around for peak Anthony Kim, here's the simplest way to explain it. He didn't look like a guy trying to make it. He looked like a guy who belonged at the top immediately. He had swagger, speed, and this natural shot making that made other pros sound like fans. Tiger Woods has talked about exactly that, the raw, natural talent, and then the darker stretch where Kim wanted nothing to do with golf, and why Tiger respects the fact he's even back.
Dan, I mean, this kid hit it so good. He was on an unbelievable run when he won at Charlotte, and we played against each other at the Congressional. He played unbelievable at the 2008 Ryder Cup. He had so much natural talent. He could hit any shot he wanted. And then to see him, struggle in life and didn't really want to play golf, didn't want to be part of golf, and then for him to come all the way back, and for him to win and to be as devoted as he is to his family, it's a story in which you just have to wrap your heart around it.
That's the foundation of the entire Anthony Kim story. Everyone saw the talent, then everyone watched it vanish. This is where the myth becomes facts. Kim didn't just have a nice run, he left fingerprints on big stages. The cleanest example, the Masters birdie record. In 2009, he made 11 birdies in a single round at Augusta, still the Masters record. That's not a trivia stat, that's a sign of how hot his game could get. Now add Ryder Cup energy, and you get why people still bring his name up like he's a folk hero. Hunter Mahan remembers teaming with him at the 2008 Ryder Cup, and you can hear the respect in his tone.
How good was this guy? And what was he like being on a team with him that week?
Oh, it's hard to tell people how good he was. He's really good, really, really talented. He had a really amazing blend of technique that was excellent. His swing was fantastic. Short game was great. Sort of a streaky putter, but his technique and ball striking was so good, and he was so consistent. And he was never afraid of competition. He was super competitive when you got him on the golf course. He really wanted to beat your brains in. Like, he really enjoyed just beating you. There was a sort of a Tiger thing to him of, he was not afraid of competition from anybody.
Here's the part people often forget, though. Kim wasn't like a quiet, polite superstar. He had edge, he had attitude, and sometimes he liked the friction. Sean O'Hare flat out says Kim thrived on controversy and could feed off negativity.
He had swag, man.
More juice than anybody.
He was another guy, I think he was a little misunderstood. Not that I was boys with him, but there was things that he would do that I didn't necessarily appreciate, but I think he was misunderstood as a person. I think he's one of those complicated cats that had insane talent. Insane talent.
That's an understatement. Without question.
In my opinion, there was not a doubt he was going to be a Hall of Famer. One of those guys that he loves that controversy. He loves people, and he just feeds off of it. And he would go put his headphones on and sit by himself on the couch and be antisocial. And certain people on the team would say certain things. And I know guys on the international team were talking shit, and he'd go out there and whoop them.
That's important because it explains why his story stayed loud even when he disappeared. Because when he was gone, the mystery became part of the legend. A major reason his comeback was complicated is that outlets reported he had collected at least part of a disability insurance settlement, and returning to play could have triggered payback requirements. Even Kim himself has said he wasn't at liberty to talk about the details. So for years, all you had was rumor, silence, and this one question that wouldn't die. What happened to Anthony Kim, and will he ever actually come back? When he finally did return, The reactions weren't just about golf swings. They were about the fact that he made it back from the lowest point of his life and found a new reason to keep going. Bryson describes Kim's journey like an incredible story, lowest of lows, then a new purpose.
What an incredible story, first off. Going from the lowest of lows, almost moving away from this earth and then coming back and really taking accountability and raising his little girl and being a family man and being 1% better every day. I mean, it's an inspiring story that I think honestly should have a lot more media attention than it does. My hat's off to him for doing everything he's done, working as hard as he has to get back. I mean, he's an incredible talent, obviously. We know that. And he's starting to show it, and for him to be in the final group will be fun. And I actually haven't played with him yet, so it'll be fun to see how he golfs his ball.
That's the shift. The early Anthony Kim story was future superstar. The new Anthony Kim story is survival, then redemption. Now here's where it gets real. Because it's one thing to return, it's another thing to convince other elite players that the talent is returning too. John Rahm talks about seeing Kim improve fast, and even witnessing a round that he describes as basically flawless.
Because what he's doing is so impressive. Where he was at in life to where he's at now. I've been able to play with him. I played in Singapore in his first season with him early on. Both of us played with him here last year in the first round, and I played with him yesterday. And the progression, the jump from those 2 times to yesterday, it's impressive. The round he played yesterday, and not the easiest golf course, was incredible. Didn't really miss a shot, shot 5 under, and should have been lower because he didn't make many putts. I mean, it was a flawless round of golf. It's impressive. It's impressive. And
then you've got the old school reactions, guys who saw prime AK up close and still talk about him like he was something else. Brian Harman's line is ridiculous, but you can tell he means it. He says he's seen Kim hole more irons than he's made in his whole career.
And he would do it. It was like he would show off sometimes. You know, he would be playing so good and be like, "Oh, watch, I'm gonna make birdie like this time." It's just nuts.
Yeah, he'd hit like 7-iron from 180 to 13 feet and then like slam his club, and I'm like, "Oh my god, I would be."
I swear,
I would be overjoyed.
I watched him hole more iron shots. Like, I think I remember him holing more iron shots than I can remember me making, like, through my...
And even when Kim was gone from leaderboards, he never really left golf's imagination. His name still came up like a ghost story, but in a good way. The AK myth was still alive. Here's Chris Gotterup talking about how his legend still lives on at Oklahoma.
Coach always talked about it. He would come up, like, randomly, only when Coach was there. He would come up like once a year when Coach was there, and they would hang out. But other than that, you never saw him. You just heard of him.
What kind of stories does Coach tell about AK?
There's some good ones. I don't know how much I can share, but he told us a couple. He just, I probably can't say too much.
That's how you know a player mattered. People who never even played golf with you still talk about you like you were a moment. Now, to keep this balanced, the comeback hasn't been controversy-free either. Anthony Kim had taken some shots at Bryson DeChambeau on his social media, and Bryson dismissed them as juvenile. Why I'm mentioning it is because it shows AK still has that edge, that same "I'm not here to be polite" streak.
Of live players, this week Anthony Kim comes out and kind of take some shots at you on social media. What was your reaction to that?
Oh, I don't know. At first, I thought it was a bot, but it's not. It's just somebody who's been bought. I mean, I'm sure Liv's, Norman or Mickelson or whoever else is telling Anthony Kim to take shots at me. I thought it was juvenile. So social media is a perfect place for juveniles to go behave like children, like the ball pit at McDonald's without adult supervision.
And then comes the moment that makes the whole story feel unreal. Because in February 2026, Anthony Kim won Live Golf Adelaide, his first win in nearly 16 years. That's not a feel-good headline. That's a competitive win on a big stage against a stacked field. Taylor Zarzor describes it perfectly. He never thought he'd ever get an alert on his phone saying Anthony Kim won a tournament again, and then he did.
I was afraid I was going to get an alert on my phone one day.
Sure.
About Anthony Kim. And the fact that instead on Sunday morning I got an alert on my phone that he had won a golf tournament and that he had beaten some of the world's best, it's the best story Liv could ever write.
So when players are asked about Anthony Kim, you hear two versions of the same truth. The old version, one of the most naturally gifted players of his era, a Ryder Cup weapon, a highlight factory, a guy who could get red hot and change a tournament. The new version, a comeback story that's messy, human, and real, which now comes with the one thing nobody expected anymore: a win. And that's why his name will never die in golf.